Beneath the surface of over 70% of the Earth lies a world humanity has yet to fully understand. It is not a realm of darkness and desolation, but a universe alive with vibrant wonder. Today, we dive together into the most magical place on the planet, the coral reefs. Thousands of years before humans set foot on the moon, tiny creatures were building the greatest structures on Earth. Coral reefs, constructed by organisms no larger than a finger, stretch for thousands of kilometers. They are the cities of the ocean, and every corner holds untold stories. Scientists estimate that the oceans contain around 250,000 recorded species, but the actual number could be 10 times higher. Coral reefs, covering less than 1% of the ocean floor, are home to over 25% of all marine species. It is the most astonishing biodiversity density on the planet. But this magical world is disappearing at an alarming rate. Over 50% of the world's coral reefs have been impacted by humans through climate change, pollution, and destructive fishing. Before they vanish, let us meet the most extraordinary inhabitants of this underwater world. They are not monsters. They are not dangerous. They are living works of art, refined by millions of years of evolution. Every shape, every color, every behavior is a solution to the puzzle of survival. Coral reefs only exist within a narrow band around the equator, where seawater temperatures range from 22 to 28 degrees Celsius. Light must be strong, salinity stable. These are the strict conditions nature has maintained for millions of years. Today, we will explore the 15 most unique creatures of this extraordinary world. Take a close look. Can you see the crab hiding in this image? The orangutan crab is a master of fur camouflage. Its dense orange-red hair perfectly mimics the texture of the sponge where it lives and feeds. The relationship between the orangutan crab and the sponge is a prime example of symbiosis in nature. The crab gains protection through camouflage. The sponge is cleaned of debris. This is not by chance. It is the result of millions of years of coevolution. When danger approaches, the orangutan crab does not flee. It simply stands still. Its perfect stillness combined with camouflage makes it almost invisible to predatory fish. This is one of the oldest survival strategies in nature. Do not be seen. In the natural world, vibrant beauty is often a warning. Stay away from me. The dwarf lionfish is one of the most beautiful and dangerous fish on the reef. Its fan-like, colorful fins contain venomous spines that can cause severe pain to anyone foolish enough to touch them. But venom is not their only weapon. The dwarf lionfish is also a formidable, patient hunter. It stands motionless for hours, waiting for prey to approach with innocent confidence. Then, in a lightning strike, the meal is done, all in less than a second. The dwarf lionfish's colors are not just to warn predators. They are also a language of love. During mating season, Males spread their fins as wide as possible to attract females. The more vibrant and striking the display, the stronger the signal of health and good genes. This is a rock, or maybe not. The hairy frogfish is a master of camouflage, sometimes fooling even scientists into a double take. Its skin is covered in fake hairs and bumps mimicking algae, moss, and the surface of coral rocks. The hairy frogfish possesses a unique hunting tool, a fishing rod growing from its forehead. This elysium ends with a lure that looks exactly like a swimming shrimp or worm. The frogfish sits still, wiggling the lure, waiting for prey to come close. When the prey is close enough, the hairy frogfish strikes with astonishing speed. Its mouth opens wide, sucking in the prey in just 6 milliseconds, faster than a human brain can react. It is one of the fastest strikes in the animal kingdom. Nature designed the coral butterflyfish's snout like a surgical tweezer. Long, thin, and slightly curved, it allows the fish to reach crevices no other fish can. There, it finds coral polyps, small worms, and hidden crustaceans. But the snout is not the butterflyfish's only defense. Look at its tail. A large dark spot resembles an eye. This false eye deceives predators. Attacking the wrong end, the butterflyfish darts in the opposite direction, narrowly escaping. As night falls over the coral reef, a completely different world awakens. Lantern cardinalfish gather in massive schools, and they glow. Bioluminescence is not just beautiful. It's a language, a navigation system, and a hunting tool all in one. The unusually large eyes of the lantern cardinalfish are no accident. They are ultrasensitive light detectors. At night, they hunt plankton using their own light as a flashlight. In total darkness, they are the tiny living lanterns of the ocean. If you think the leafy sea dragon is just an oddly shaped fish, think again. Each leaf on its body serves no purpose in movement. They are purely for camouflage. The creature moves using tiny, transparent fins that vibrate so quickly, they are nearly invisible to the naked eye. But the strangest thing about the leafy sea dragon is not its appearance. It's who gets pregnant. In this species, the male carries the eggs. The female deposits them into a special pouch on the male's belly. The male nurtures and protects the eggs until the young hatch, a complete reversal of typical gender roles. When the eggs hatch, the tiny sea dragons are perfect miniature replicas of their parents. They receive no post-hatching care. They must fend for themselves in the vast ocean. Yet their perfect camouflage from birth is the best armor evolution could provide. In the entire ocean, no dance is as beautiful as the Spanish dancer nudibranch moving through the water. Its fiery red body undulates in rhythm, like a flamenco dancer performing. But this beauty is no mere display. It is a clear warning. I am toxic. Do not eat me. The Spanish dancer nudibranch does not produce its own toxin. It steals it. By eating sponges and other toxic organisms, it absorbs and stores the toxins in its body. This is an ingenious evolutionary strategy. No energy spent creating weapons. Simply borrow them. At first glance, you might think these are Christmas trees decorating the ocean floor. In reality, each tree is the upper part of a tube worm, the Christmas tree worm, protruding from its calcareous tube. These twin spirals are not just beautiful, they serve as both respiratory and feeding structures simultaneously. Each hair on the worm's spirals senses water movement while filtering phytoplankton for food. When danger is detected, a shadow or a pressure wave, they retract into their tube in an instant. This is the fastest defensive reflex among sessile reef organisms. Try to find the fish in this image. Difficult, isn't it? The crocodilefish is the ultimate camouflage artist of the reef floor. Its flattened body and mottled skin literally become part of the sandy substrate. The crocodilefish's eyes have a unique structure, a complex membrane covering the surface to prevent light reflection. In the world of camouflage, glinting eyes can reveal a predator's location. When prey comes close enough, it opens its mouth, generating extreme suction to draw in the prey before it can react. In Western mythology, the unicorn symbolizes purity and magic. On the reef, the unicorn fish carries a horn for much more practical reasons. This bony horn is used to attract mates during breeding season and for defense when necessary. Titan triggerfish is one of the few reef fish truly dangerous to humans. Not because it's venomous, but because it will attack anyone who intrudes into its territory. Especially during breeding season, their defended area can span several square meters, and they spare no one. The jaws of the Titan triggerfish are so strong they can crush hard coral to reach sea urchins and crustaceans inside. These powerful jaws are also why their bites can seriously injure careless divers. Simple rule: when a Titan triggerfish flares its fins, swim sideways, not upward. Each year, thousands of Australian giant cuttlefish gather in Spencer Gulf to perform one of the ocean's most spectacular breeding displays. This is the world's largest cuttlefish. The males can reach 0.5 meter and weigh over 10 kilograms. But what makes them famous is not their size. It's their ability to change skin color. The giant cuttlefish's skin contains millions of specialized pigment cells called chromatophores that can expand or contract in an instant. They do more than just change color. They create intricate patterns that move across the skin like a living display. This is the most sophisticated color language in the invertebrate world. During mating season, male giant cuttlefish perform an extraordinary feat. They split their bodies. One side displays vibrant courtship colors to the female. The other side maintains camouflage to deceive rival males. Two completely different displays occur simultaneously on a single body. If you are diving and accidentally touch what looks like a piece of coral, be careful. Could be a tropical scorpionfish. This is the reef's most stealthy and dangerous predator, perfectly camouflaged by day. Its dorsal spines contain potent venom that causes intense pain, muscle paralysis, and in severe cases can be life-threatening. The scorpionfish also exhibits a lesser-known behavior. It periodically sheds its skin like a snake. The old skin peels off completely, taking algae and parasites with it. After shedding, its camouflage is sharper and more effective than ever, like an assassin in a new outfit. The clownfish and sea anemone pair symbolize symbiotic friendship in the ocean. The anemone protects the clownfish with its stinging tentacles. The clownfish defends the anemone from butterfly fish. But it's the clownfish's immunity to the anemone's toxin. That's the truly fascinating story. Clownfish gradually acclimate to the anemone, allowing the tentacle mucus to coat their skin each time. Gradually, the anemone recognizes the clownfish's scent as its own and does not trigger a sting reflex. This is not inherited. It must be learned individually for each clownfish. In a clownfish society, the largest fish is female. The male is smaller. If the female dies, something extraordinary happens. The largest male transforms into a female. This is not an exception. It is a programmed biological mechanism ensuring the group can always reproduce. In most cultures, moray eels symbolize hidden danger in the dark. The honeycomb moray eel, with its intricate, abstract art-like pattern, is visually striking. But the opening and closing of its mouth is not aggression. It's simply pumping water through its gills to breathe. The honeycomb moray eel has a special friend, the cleaner shrimp. These tiny shrimp freely enter the eel's mouth, potentially the easiest meal in the ocean, to clean its teeth and parasites. The eel does not eat the shrimp. The shrimp is not afraid. The perfect business arrangement has existed for millions of years. Inside the eel's mouth lies a special evolutionary weapon, the second jaw. When prey is caught by the outer jaws, the hidden pharyngeal jaw shoots forward from the throat to pull the prey deeper. This mechanism is similar to the xenomorph in the movie Alien, but it exists in reality, even stranger than science fiction. None of the species we've met exist independently. They are connected in a complex web. Clownfish protect anemones. Anemones protect clownfish. Together they provide shelter for smaller creatures. Honeycomb moray eels are tended by cleaner shrimp. Shrimp rely on the eel. Together they control parasites on the reef. In the coral reef ecosystem, each species is both a problem and a solution for others. Titan triggerfish are aggressive, but by eating sea urchins, they control the population and protect the coral from overgrazing. Losing a single species can trigger a cascading collapse we cannot foresee. When ocean temperatures rise just 1 to 2 degrees Celsius beyond the threshold, corals expel their symbiotic algae and bleach. Without coral, the creatures we've seen lose their homes, food, and breeding grounds. Coral reefs are not merely habitats. They are prerequisites for their survival. Coral reefs also provide direct food for over 500 million people worldwide. They protect coastlines from storm surges, generate tourism income, and are invaluable sources for pharmaceutical research. Losing coral reefs is not only an ecological disaster, it is an economic and humanitarian one. These creatures are not monsters. They are not dangerous. They are not curiosities for our awe. They are living proof of evolution's extraordinary power, millions of years of trial and refinement. Every shape, every color, every behavior is a perfect answer to a survival question. Modern science has only begun to understand a tiny fraction of what is happening beneath the reefs. Each year, hundreds of new species are discovered, each carrying secrets from millions of years of evolution. The question is not what we can learn from them, but whether we have enough time left to learn. Coral reefs have survived 5 mass extinctions in Earth's history. They endured asteroid impacts, ice ages, and massive geological upheavals. The only remaining question is, will they survive us? Beneath the blue waters of the Coral Sea lies a world humanity has never truly understood. Stretching over 2,300 kilometers, the Great Barrier Reef is the largest ecosystem on Earth and can even be seen from space. It is a place of breathtaking beauty and of silent deaths few people ever notice. More than 9,000 species live here, from creatures no larger than a fingertip to giants stretching dozens of meters long. Every square meter of the reef is a silent battlefield where the weak are consumed before they even sense danger. Today, we will encounter the hidden hunters and the most mysterious creatures of the ocean. Deep within the dark crevices of the reef, a pair of small eyes watches everything. The moray eel can grow up to 3 meters long, yet few people ever see its entire body because it rarely leaves the shadows unless necessary. For this predator, darkness is not a hiding place, it is a weapon. The moray eel possesses something almost no other creature on Earth has: a second set of jaws hidden deep inside its throat. Once the outer jaws clamp onto prey, the inner jaws shoot forward and drag the victim directly into the esophagus. There is no escape and no second chance. If the moray eel hides in darkness, the reef shark displays its power openly. Reef sharks patrol the waters endlessly like tireless police officers of the ocean. Their mere presence is enough to make most other creatures move aside. Sharks are not merely predators, they are pillars of the entire marine ecosystem. By controlling mid-level fish populations, they prevent destructive species from overwhelming coral reefs. An ocean without sharks is an ocean slowly dying. Amid the chaos of the reef, one creature moves with complete calm. Green sea turtles have existed on Earth for more than 100 million years, long before the dinosaurs disappeared. Every adult carries the memory of journeys spanning thousands of kilometers across the ocean. Rising sand temperatures caused by climate change are altering turtle hatchling sex ratios, producing far too many females and too few males. Plastic pollution kills thousands of turtles each year as they mistake floating bags for jellyfish. The ocean's most ancient traveler now faces challenges that millions of years of evolution never prepared it for. Look carefully at this image. Can you tell where the fish is? Most people cannot. The stonefish is the most venomous fish on Earth, and its deadliest weapon is not speed or size, but its ability to disappear completely into its surroundings. It remains motionless, waiting for prey to drift too close. Along the stonefish's back are 13 venomous spines filled with varicotoxin, one of the most powerful biological toxins known. When stepped on, these spines pierce the skin and inject venom directly into the bloodstream, causing extreme pain, paralysis, and even heart failure without immediate treatment. The reef's deadliest killer never needs to move to hunt. Far away from predators, we encounter a creature that evokes an entirely different feeling: absolute peace. The dugong inspired ancient mermaid legends when sailors spotted them from afar across the open sea. No claws, no weapons, only gentle brown eyes and one of the calmest temperaments in the ocean. Dugongs carry their young for 14 months and give birth to only one calf at a time, making population recovery painfully slow. Today, they are threatened by fishing nets, pollution, and the disappearance of seagrass meadows caused by rising ocean temperatures. Every dugong lost means the ocean loses an irreplaceable piece of its ecosystem. If there is any creature worthy of being called an angel of the ocean, it is the giant manta ray. With a wingspan reaching 7 meters and weighing over 2 tons, they move with unbelievable grace, as if flying through a deep blue sky. No venomous spines, no sharp teeth, just one of the gentlest giants in the sea. Giant manta rays possess the largest brains of all fish species, with a brain-to-body ratio even higher than many sharks. They can recognize themselves in mirrors, a rare sign of advanced intelligence in nature. At cleaning stations across the reef, they patiently hover while tiny fish remove parasites from their bodies, creating one of the ocean's most beautiful examples of cooperation. Clownfish possess neither powerful weapons nor incredible speed. The only thing they have is a dangerously powerful partner. Sea anemones, armed with thousands of venomous stinging cells, can kill most fish that approach, yet for clownfish they become the safest home in the reef. A special mucus coating on their skin prevents the anemone from firing its toxins, the result of millions of years of evolution. In return, clownfish defend the anemone from predators, clean away food scraps, and fan water through the tentacles to increase oxygen flow. Even more astonishing, all clownfish are born male, and when the dominant female dies, the largest male transforms into a female to replace her. In the brutal world of coral reefs, clownfish prove that cooperation can sometimes be stronger than any set of fangs. A giant fish glides across the reef with unusual confidence, its massive forehead hump resembling Napoleon's hat. The humphead wrasse can grow over 2 meters long and live for more than 30 years, but size is not what makes it important. What truly matters is what it eats. The crown-of-thorns starfish is one of the reef's most destructive predators, yet almost no species dares to eat it because of its venomous spines. The humphead wrasse is a rare exception, possessing jaws powerful enough to crush the toxic spines without harm. Without this fish, crown-of-thorns outbreaks could devastate entire coral reefs within just a few months. From the darkness of the deep ocean, a strange silhouette slowly emerges with a broad head shaped like a giant hammer. The great hammerhead shark is one of the most sophisticated predators evolution has ever created on Earth. And that unusual head is not a mistake of nature, but a perfectly engineered hunting machine. Spread across the hammer-shaped head are thousands of electroreceptors capable of detecting the faint electrical signals produced by every living creature. Beneath the sand, a stingray lies perfectly still, but its heart still beats and releases tiny electric fields. For the hammerhead, no hiding place is deep enough to conceal the heartbeat of its prey. Look very carefully at this image. A creature is hiding in plain sight, yet you can barely see it. The reef octopus can change its color, patterns, and even skin texture in less than a second, not merely camouflage, but a near-perfect imitation of its surroundings. It may be the most sophisticated illusion ever created by evolution. Octopuses possess an intelligence that astonishes even scientists, capable of solving problems, recognizing human faces, and unscrewing jars to reach food inside. Even more remarkable, 2/3 of their neurons are located within their arms, allowing each limb to function almost like an independent brain. They are not simply intelligent, they are intelligent in a way unlike any creature humans have ever known. The fastest creature is not always the most destructive. Sometimes the greatest destroyer is slow, covered in spines, and almost silent. The crown of thorns starfish can have up to 21 venomous arms and turns its stomach inside out to digest coral directly on the spot. A single individual can consume up to 10 square meters of coral every year, and when millions appear at once, entire reefs become lifeless white wastelands. These outbreaks are closely linked to nitrogen pollution from agriculture, where excess nutrients allow starfish larvae to grow uncontrollably. Today, conservation teams dive underwater and inject special solutions into individual starfish to reduce their numbers. Protecting coral reefs does not begin underwater. It begins on farms and in cities far inland. Seahorses are the slowest fish on Earth, with some species moving less than 1.5 meters per hour. But nature never abandons slow creatures. Instead, it grants them extraordinary precision. Their independently moving eyes, like those of a chameleon, combined with lightning-fast snout strikes, give them a hunting success rate of nearly 90%. Seahorses are among the very few species on Earth in which the male becomes pregnant and gives birth. The female transfers her eggs into the male's pouch, where they are nourished for weeks before hundreds of tiny seahorses are born. It is one of the strangest and most remarkable reversals of biological roles that science still cannot fully explain. Nothing in the ocean can prepare you for the moment a 36-ton creature launches completely out of the water. A humpback whale can leap up to 5 meters high before crashing back into the sea with a thunder-like explosion. No one truly knows why they do this, but witnessing it once is unforgettable for life. Male humpback whales sing songs lasting up to 20 continuous hours, echoing across thousands of kilometers beneath the ocean. These songs contain complex structures with rhythm and seasonal variation, even spreading from whale to whale like a form of culture. It may be the closest thing to art ever created by a non-human species. Some forms of danger require no noise at all, only stillness and the confidence of a predator that knows nothing can escape. The great barracuda hangs motionless like a silver blade, its streamlined body tense like a drawn bow. And when the moment comes, it can accelerate to 58 kilometers per hour in an instant. The most astonishing sight comes when hundreds of barracudas gather into massive spinning formations known as fish tornadoes, swirling like underwater storms. Scientists still do not fully understand this phenomenon, which may relate to mating, defense, or ocean currents. In that moment, the ocean's coldest predators resemble a living work of art in motion. All of these extraordinary creatures are facing a threat that no species can adapt to quickly enough. As ocean temperatures rise, corals expel the symbiotic algae that provide them with color and nutrients, leaving behind ghostly white skeletons. Since 1998, the Great Barrier Reef has endured 6 mass bleaching events, each more devastating than the last. Every year, more than 8 million tons of plastic enter the ocean and break apart into microplastics that infiltrate the entire food chain. Sea turtles die from intestinal blockages after swallowing plastic bags. Manta rays filter microplastics along with plankton, and seahorses cling to trash instead of real coral. This is not a future disaster. It is happening silently right now. Overfishing does not simply remove fish. It tears apart an ecological network built over millions of years. When sharks disappear, stingray populations explode. When humphead wrasse are removed, crown-of-thorns starfish spread uncontrollably. A coral reef is not a supermarket of resources. It is a living body where every species acts like a vital organ. Since 1985, the Great Barrier Reef has lost more than half of its living coral cover. This is not only the loss of natural beauty, but also the loss of coastal protection and food resources for hundreds of millions of people. More than 500 million people worldwide rely directly on coral reefs for survival, and time is running out. But the story is not over yet. Around the world, scientists and divers are restoring coral fragment by fragment using artificial nurseries and new breeding technologies. Heat-resistant coral strains are offering hope that nature still has a chance to recover. The ocean possesses remarkable resilience if humanity gives it enough time and space. In strictly protected marine reserves, coral is slowly recovering, fish are returning, and entire ecosystems are beginning to rebalance. This is clear evidence that when humans stop destroying nature, it knows how to heal itself. The question is not whether the ocean can recover, but whether humanity will give it the chance. Every child who sees a coral reef for the first time through a diving mask shares the same reaction: speechless wonder. It is a genuine connection between humanity and the ocean, something no textbook can ever replace. Those children will decide whether the Great Barrier Reef still exists by the end of this century. Real conservation does not begin in laboratories or international conferences. It begins with the communities that live alongside the ocean every day. When fishermen shift from exploitation to protection, they become the sea's most effective guardians. When local communities rise to defend the ocean, true hope finally appears. The moray eel in darkness, The manta ray in sunlight, the seahorse clinging to coral, and the whale singing across the vast ocean are all notes in the most delicate ecological symphony Earth has ever composed. Every note matters equally. Losing a species does not simply mean losing an animal. It means losing an irreplaceable part of the ocean's living harmony. The Great Barrier Reef does not need humanity's protection out of obligation. It needs us to stop, look closely, and truly understand what is happening. The health of the ocean is the health of humanity, because we have never existed outside this ecosystem. And if the ocean ever falls silent, there may be no one left to hear the whales sing. There is a sea in Northern Europe, not as famous as the Mediterranean, not as glamorous as tropical bays. But it is alive, it breathes, and it never truly stands still. The North Sea stretches across more than 750,000 square kilometers, bordered by the United Kingdom, Norway, Denmark, Germany, the Netherlands, Belgium, and France. It is one of the busiest and harshest seas on Earth. Here, the wind never asks permission before it blows. The weather here changes without warning. A morning may begin with pale sunlight and end beneath a storm rolling in from the Atlantic. The people who live beside the sea learn to read the sky like pages in a book. For thousands of years, people have chosen to live beside the sea. Not because it is gentle, but because it is generous. Fish, salt, trade, and even hardship all arrive from the same direction, from the sea itself. The white cliffs of Dover, an icon of Britain, are also a reflection of the North Sea's power. Every day, waves carve away a little more limestone, eroding the coast grain by grain. Never rushing, never stopping. Ancient sea charts were filled with warnings. Dangerous currents, hidden sandbanks, winter storms. The people of the past never truly conquered the sea. They learned instead how to live alongside it, season after season, tide after tide. From above, the Dutch coastline looks like an endless negotiation between humanity and the ocean. On one side, the water pushes inward. On the other, the dikes push back. And this negotiation has continued for centuries. But sometimes the North Sea knows how to be silent. Those rare and fleeting moments reveal just how beautiful the sea truly is. And in those moments, you understand why people never really leave it behind. Along the western coast of Denmark, sand is not a foundation. It is something constantly in motion. Millions of tons of sand drift with the currents each year, redrawing the coastline like an artist endlessly reshaping a masterpiece. Every grain of sand is on a long journey, from the seabed to the shore, from the shore to the dunes, and back again to the sea. A cycle with no beginning and no end. Sand is never still. It is only waiting for the wind. The Rubjergnud lighthouse once stood near the shoreline to guide ships at sea. But the dunes kept advancing until, in 2019, the entire lighthouse had to be moved by crane. It was not the sea that swallowed the lighthouse, it was the sand carried by the wind. The Wadden Islands are among Europe's least known geographical wonders. These narrow strips of land are not fixed islands, but shifting structures of sand and mud constantly rewritten by tides and storms. Swlt Island loses an average of 1 meter of width every year along its western coast. This is not a metaphor, it is measured reality. Over 2 centuries, hundreds of meters of land have disappeared beneath the sea. Old maps are no longer accurate. The people living on these islands do not speak of their land as something permanent. They simply say, "The sand will go where it wants." It is not surrender, but wisdom learned through generations of watching the islands change shape. Twice each day, the tide retreats and transforms the Wadden Sea into an entirely different world. Hundreds of square kilometers of mudflats emerge beneath the sun. A vast wet desert appearing and disappearing according to the moon's schedule. Blavand, the westernmost point of Denmark, is where 2 ocean currents meet. Here, sand carried from the north slowly accumulates, extending the headland farther into the sea with each passing decade. Standing on these dunes at sunset, the boundaries between earth and sky, sand and water, present and past all begin to fade away. What remains is the feeling of being very small and of the sea being unimaginably old. In 1932, the Netherlands completed one of the boldest engineering projects in human history. The Afsluitdijk, a 32-kilometer barrier that sealed off an entire bay and transformed the Zuiderzee into the freshwater Lake IJsselmeer. This was not construction, it was a declaration of war against the sea. Two colors of water, 2 separate worlds divided by a wall of concrete. To the east lies freshwater, fertile farmland, and safe cities. To the west lies the North Sea with its storms and tides. This barrier does not only hold back water, it protects an entire way of life. But the ocean never fully surrenders. On the night of January 31st, 1953, a historic storm struck the Netherlands and shattered hundreds of dikes. Nearly 1,900 people died. Entire villages vanished beneath the sea in a single night. And afterward, the Dutch rebuilt, stronger than ever before. Delta Works, the largest flood protection project ever built, began after the 1953 disaster and took 40 years to complete. Some call it the 8th engineering wonder of the modern world. But for the Dutch, it is simply the condition required for survival. A lighthouse is not merely a tower of light. It is an admission that these waters are dangerous and people need warning. Every lighthouse along the North Sea marks a place where ships were lost and lives disappeared. Its turning light is not a greeting, but a caution. Small fishing villages along the Scottish coast have survived for centuries with the same rhythm of life. Men leave before dawn, women wait on shore. The North Sea feeds them, and sometimes it takes their loved ones away. Both realities are accepted. Kronborg Castle, where Shakespeare set the story of Hamlet, was built to control the narrowest passage between the North Sea and the Baltic. For centuries, every ship passing through these waters paid taxes to Denmark. The sea is not only nature, it is also power and wealth. The 20th century brought a new form of extraction: oil and natural gas from beneath the North Sea. Norway and Britain grew wealthy from offshore drilling. But the seabed paid the price, and winter storms remain a reminder that nobody truly controls this sea. And now humanity has found another way to harvest the North Sea, by collecting the wind itself. Thousands of offshore turbines are transforming waters once seen as obstacles into a source of green energy for all of Europe. Once again, the North Sea has become the future. Tides in the North Sea are not a small matter. In some places, the difference between high and low tide reaches 10 to 12 meters. The same beach, the same coordinates, yet only 6 hours apart, it becomes two completely different worlds. When the tide retreats across the Wadden Sea, people can walk from the German coast to distant islands kilometers away, crossing mudflats and shallow tidal channels beneath an overwhelming sky. In German, this experience even has its own name: Wattwandern, walking across the seabed. The mudflats may appear empty, but beneath every square centimeter lies a dense living community. Worms, shellfish, tiny shrimp, and fish larvae thrive here in numbers greater than many tropical forests. This is a vast natural restaurant feeding millions of birds every year. Fishermen in the small harbors of Cornwall and Yorkshire are used to seeing their boats sleeping on the sand twice a day. They do not see it as inconvenience, but as part of life's rhythm. Their schedules follow the tides, not the clock. From above, the tidal channels winding through the salt marshes resemble the veins of a giant living creature. Water flows in and out with every tide, carrying nutrients, oxygen, and life into every corner of the marsh. This is not a dead landscape, it is a beating heart. Nowhere else in the world does a sunset seem to paint itself onto the ground quite like this. When the tide retreats and the mudflats remain wet, the sky and earth merge into one. Standing there feels like floating between two heavens. The rising tide at night has a sound entirely its own. Water slipping through the grass, small waves tapping against the dikes, wind carrying the smell of salt deep inland. The people who live here know which sounds are normal and which are dangerous. It is knowledge no textbook can teach. Every year, more than 10 million migratory birds stop at the Wadden Sea to refuel before continuing toward Africa or the Arctic. It is the most important resting point along the Atlantic Flyway, an airport without a roof, operating continuously from March to October. Puffins, with their brightly colored clown-like beaks, nest inside burrows carved into the cliffs of Scotland and Norway. They dive as deep as 60 meters to catch fish and can carry dozens at once thanks to the spines inside their mouths. Small and awkward on land, yet perfectly designed for life underwater. Gray seals are among the oldest inhabitants of the North Sea. Weather, tides, and tourists hardly seem to disturb them. Resting on the sand, they resemble forgotten stones scattered across the shore, yet their dark, wet eyes quietly watch everything around them. Herring were once the silver gold of the North Sea, feeding millions of people for centuries. Vast schools stretch for kilometers beneath the water, moving like a single living organism and reflecting light in shimmering silver waves. Summer brings jellyfish closer to the shores of the North Sea. These nearly transparent creatures, with no brain, no heart, and no bones, have existed almost unchanged for more than 500 million years. They do not swim, they drift. And within that drifting exists a strange beauty beyond ordinary language. Bottlenose dolphins in the North Sea are famous for their curiosity. They often approach boats on their own, riding the waves at the bow as if playing. In Northern European fishing culture, seeing dolphins is considered a good omen. No one truly knows why they do it, and that mystery is part of what makes them fascinating. Coastal salt marshes are not considered beautiful in the traditional sense. There are no mountains, no waterfalls, but in spring, when sea lavender blooms, the entire marsh turns pale purple all the way to the horizon. A quiet beauty belonging to places few people hurry to visit. Beneath the restless surface lies a completely different world, slower, quieter, and stranger. Sea urchins, starfish, lobsters, and kelp forests form an ecosystem that most people never truly see, even if they spend their entire lives beside the sea. In the far north near the Shetland and Orkney Islands, the water is so clear that the seabed can be seen from above. These are the coldest and most nutrient-rich waters of the North Sea, where plankton thrive, fish gather, and seabirds can never seem to eat enough. There are beaches along the North Sea so vast that you can walk for an entire day without seeing another person. Not because the place has been forgotten, but because the shoreline is simply too wide, too straight, too endless to ever be filled by people. Out there, solitude is not sadness, it is simply the natural state of things. The light of the North Sea changes with the hour, the tides, the seasons, and even the humidity in the air in ways found nowhere else on Earth. 17th century Flemish and Dutch painters became so obsessed with this light that entire schools of painting were born from it, soft, diffused, never harsh, yet luminous in its own quiet way. Winter in the North Sea is the season of Atlantic storms crashing directly into the coast. Waves reaching 15 meters are not uncommon. During those days, fishermen stay home, listening to the wind howl outside while they wait. That too is part of life here. Far to the north, where the North Sea reaches the Arctic Circle, the sun does not fully set for weeks during summer. This midnight light, glowing red and gold without ever becoming dark, creates the feeling that time itself has stopped, and that you are standing somewhere outside reality. The Orkney Islands, inhabited for more than 5,000 years, possess a landscape so empty it becomes haunting. No tall trees can survive the wind. Stones lie scattered as if thrown there by giants. And within that extreme openness, you begin to hear sounds you never notice in city life. Crossing the North Sea by ferry is a unique experience, hours without seeing land, surrounded only by water, waves, and a low gray sky. In that vast emptiness, many people understand for the first time what ancient sailors once described. The ocean is not a place you travel across. It is a place you exist within. From high enough above, everything becomes visible at once. The rocky coast of Scotland in the northwest, the sandy islands of Denmark in the northeast, the Dutch sea barriers in the south, and the white cliffs of Dover in the southwest. One sea, many nations, many languages, many ways of life, all shaped by the same forces: water, wind, and tides. The North Sea waits for no one. It will continue reshaping coastlines, moving dunes, feeding millions of living creatures, and challenging humanity, whether anyone is watching or not. And that is perhaps the most beautiful thing about this place. It does not need to be discovered in order to exist. It is simply there, always moving, always changing, never quite the same as yesterday. This was once an untouchable realm, a frozen desert stretching across millions of square kilometers. Nowhere on Earth was more cold or majestic, but the Arctic is changing faster than anyone ever imagined. Over the past 30 years, nearly 40% of Arctic sea ice has disappeared. Cracks are forming more frequently and spreading wider. What was once permanent ice is now fading into memory. Satellites have captured this entire transformation. Year by year, summer ice retreats, revealing deep blue waters that haven't seen sunlight for thousands of years. This is no longer a prediction. This is reality. Arctic temperatures are rising 3 times faster than the global average. Each summer grows warmer, each winter shorter. And every degree brings consequences no one fully anticipated. Beneath the surface, something even more alarming is happening. Permafrost, frozen for tens of thousands of years, is beginning to thaw. And with it, vast amounts of trapped methane are being released into the atmosphere. In the past, even in summer, the sea was still covered with thick ice. Now it is gone. And with the ice, other things have arrived, things that were never seen here before. The Arctic Ocean is no longer locked in ice as it once was. In summer, open water corridors expand like invisible highways, inviting any creature strong enough to reach them. Beneath the surface, another world is quietly shifting. The Arctic food chain, once stable for thousands of years, is beginning to tremble from the top down. And the force behind this disruption is drawing closer. This is a predator the Inuit had rarely seen in these waters, at least not in such numbers. Orca, killer whales. The ocean's apex predator, now entering a realm that was never theirs. Orcas do not hunt alone. They move in pods, coordinated, strategic, with their own forms of communication. Each pod is a perfectly evolved unit, refined over millions of years. In the past, thick sea ice formed a natural barrier, preventing orcas from entering the Arctic. They cannot breathe if the ocean surface is completely sealed by ice. But now, with open water corridors in summer, the path is clear. Orcas are among the most intelligent creatures on Earth. They recognize individuals, teach hunting skills to their young, and adapt their strategies to different prey. Their intelligence is second only to humans in many ways. An adult orca can weigh up to 6 tons and swim at speeds exceeding 55 kilometers per hour. No marine creature, not even great white sharks, dares to confront them. Orcas have no natural predators. Orcas are appearing more frequently, in waters where they were never seen before. And each sighting comes with something even more troubling. To verify, scientists began attaching satellite trackers to orcas. The data shocked everyone. Orcas from the Atlantic are migrating into the Arctic every summer, and they are staying longer each year. Each point on the map marks an orca sighting, and those points are increasing year after year. They are not just passing through, they are settling. The Arctic is becoming their new territory. Beneath the freezing Arctic waters, orcas are surveying their new domain. Using echolocation, they scan their surroundings, each returning signal forming a precise image of potential prey. Seals once found safety on floating ice, but orcas have learned to create waves to wash them into the water, a sophisticated technique developed in southern oceans and now brought north. They arrive, they hunt, and they leave behind a transformed ocean. The presence of orcas is not just an ecological event. It is a warning that the entire system is shifting from the top down. In ecology, when an apex predator changes, everything below is affected. Not gradually, but like a chain reaction. And the Arctic has never seen a predator like this before. They are called the unicorns of the ocean. Narwhals, with their long spiral tusks, are among the most mysterious creatures on Earth. They evolved to live in the coldest, most remote, and until recently safest places on the planet. Narwhals spend most of their lives beneath the sea ice, where no predator could reach them. They are among the most specialized Arctic species, unable to survive elsewhere, unable to adapt to warmer environments. For thousands of years, narwhals have depended on one thing: sea ice. It is their shelter, their shield, their boundary from the outside world. But that shield is disappearing. As the ice melts, narwhals are pushed into open waters, where they have no defense. Thousands of years without predators have left them unprepared, unable to escape, unable to react when danger strikes. The moment orcas detect narwhals, the outcome is already decided. Using echolocation, they determine position, speed, and numbers. Then they begin to encircle silently, precisely, without mercy. Narwhals respond with the only instinct they have: flee toward the ice. But the ice is no longer thick enough, no longer vast enough. And orcas are faster, far faster than anything narwhals have ever faced. For the first time on record, scientists witnessed orcas killing multiple narwhals in a single coordinated attack. Not just one, but many. The efficiency is terrifying. When a tracked narwhal satellite signal suddenly goes silent, scientists know what has happened. Each disappearing signal marks a life lost. And those signals are vanishing more frequently. Narwhal behavior is changing. They move less, stay closer to the ice, and form smaller groups. These are signs of a species learning to live with a fear their ancestors never knew. Data reveals a clear correlation. As orca sightings increase each year, narwhal populations decline in certain regions. This is no longer speculation. It is evidence of a crisis unfolding. Narwhals have existed for millions of years. They survived ice ages and geological shifts. But can they survive a new predator from the south, one brought in by climate change? Typically, ecological change begins at the bottom. When algae decline, crustaceans decline, then fish and eventually larger animals are affected. This is the pattern science understands. But in the Arctic today, the opposite is happening. Ecologists call this a top-down cascade, a chain reaction from the top of the food web downward. When apex predators change behavior, every level below responds. And this time, the driver is not native, it is an outsider. Polar bears are already suffering from melting ice. Now they face an indirect threat. Orcas are competing for their food, seals, and small whales, which are essential to their survival. Seals, once active hunters of fish and crustaceans, are becoming more cautious, spending less time in the water. Their behavior is shifting due to fear of orcas. And when seals feed less, fish populations may rise in unpredictable ways. When mid-level predators are suppressed, their prey can explode in numbers. It may seem beneficial, but it is not. Surging fish populations can deplete lower food sources, leading to a collapse of the entire supply chain. This is the most frightening aspect of ecology, a chain reaction that cannot be stopped once it begins. Each affected species influences another, creating consequences that even advanced models struggle to predict. Scientists from Norway, Canada, Denmark, and the United States are combining data to build a complete picture. Alongside Inuit knowledge, they are trying to understand something never fully described before: an ecosystem being reshaped in real time. A stable ecosystem takes thousands of years to form. Species find their roles, balance is established, and energy flows consistently. But that stability can be broken in decades, even years, if a key element suddenly changes. Orcas do not know they are disrupting a system thousands of years in the making. They are simply following evolution, hunting, reproducing, expanding their range. The tragedy is not the orca, but what has opened the door for them. By recording orca calls, scientists can identify individuals, track their movements, and even predict where they may go next. Each orca has a unique voice, like a human fingerprint. Climate models predict that by mid-century, the Arctic could be nearly ice-free in summer. This means open corridors for orcas lasting months, with no barriers preventing them from exploring the entire Arctic Ocean. The future of narwhals depends on a single factor: can humans slow climate change? If ice continues to melt at the current rate, some populations may not survive to the end of this century. This is the Arctic of the 21st century, no longer the frozen constant we once knew. It is a new arena, where old rules no longer apply and new ones have yet to be written. Earth's newest competition has begun. Climate change does more than melt ice. It opens doors never meant to open, bringing new predators into places that never knew them. The Arctic is becoming one of Earth's greatest lessons, if we are still willing to listen. At sunrise, the Persian Gulf looks as if nothing has ever happened here. The surface is calm, silent, endless. But beneath that still water, beneath hundreds of meters of sediment and ancient rock, lies something that has shaped modern human history for more than a century. The Arabian Sea spans more than 3.8 million square kilometers. Most of its seabed has never been touched, fully mapped, or drilled by humans. It remains one of the least understood regions on Earth, and potentially one of the richest yet to be explored. In these shallow waters, oil has been discovered and extracted for more than 80 years. The Middle East's first oil wells lie just beneath, shallow, accessible, easy to reach. But the easy resources are running out. And human ambition is now moving farther and deeper. This is a boundary humans have seen for thousands of years, without understanding its geological meaning. The color shifts because the seabed suddenly drops hundreds of meters. On one side lies the continental shelf, explored and known. On the other lies the deep ocean, where the real secrets remain. At night, the ocean guards its secrets even more carefully. No aircraft can see through it. No satellite can penetrate its depths. What lies beneath is safer than any vault on land. And that is exactly why the most critical explorations happen in silence, often under the cover of darkness. From June to September, the southwest monsoon turns the Arabian Sea into a nightmare. Waves reach up to 5 meters, visibility drops near zero, and underwater currents become unpredictable. Deep-sea exploration is limited to the remaining 8 months, and every calm day comes at a cost. 50 meters deep, sunlight still exists. Colors still exist. Life still exists. But as you go deeper, everything changes. Light fades. Colors disappear. And at a few hundred meters, it becomes a world where humans cannot survive without machines. This is what oceanographers call the twilight zone, where the last traces of light disappear. Below lies only darkness, pressure, and absolute silence. And in a place untouched by sunlight, beneath thousands of meters of cold water, ancient hydrocarbon deposits may still remain. undisturbed since their formation. At 200 meters deep, the world is completely different. Pressure is 20 times that at the surface. Temperatures drop to 7 to 10 degrees Celsius. A fine layer of sediment stretches endlessly like an underwater desert. And beneath it, Earth's geological history is recorded layer by layer. Each meter deeper represents thousands of years. This is the edge of the continental shelf, where land ends and the abyss begins. These cliffs rise hundreds of meters, nearly vertical, recording hundreds of millions of years of geological history in stone. Geologists read them like treasure maps, searching for signs of hydrocarbon traps hidden below. At 1,500 meters, pressure reaches 150 times atmospheric levels, enough to crush human bones instantly. Temperatures approach freezing. No light, almost no currents. Yet within this pale sediment, methane molecules sometimes seep upward, a signal that something lies deeper below. These bubbles are not random. Methane seepage is the clearest geochemical signal of hydrocarbons below, like smoke revealing fire. In the deep Arabian Sea, such seeps have been recorded in multiple locations. Each stream of bubbles is an arrow pointing downward, toward the answer. Hydrothermal vents reveal intense geothermal activity beneath the seafloor. This activity is part of the long process that forms oil over millions of years. Where the Earth is still hot, where the subsurface is still active, the conditions for hydrocarbon formation may still exist. Not only in the past, but even today. Each sediment layer is a page of history. Brown marks shallow, life-rich seas. Gray signals deep, oxygen-poor waters. Black layers contain organic material, the precursor to oil. Geologists read these cores and witness hundreds of millions of years unfold before them. Even in total darkness, life persists. These creatures have evolved over millions of years to survive conditions humans cannot endure. The deep ocean is not lifeless. It is a complex, fragile ecosystem. Cold water corals live at depths of hundreds to thousands of meters, without sunlight. They grow slowly, live for thousands of years, and support entire ecosystems. Yet they remain invisible to the surface world until human activity reaches them. At 4,000 meters, the seafloor is flatter than any land plane. Red sediment accumulates incredibly slowly, less than 1 millimeter per 1,000 years. This is one of the quietest places on Earth. And beneath it, seismic data suggests massive geological structures that may have never been explored. This seismic vessel is mapping what lies beneath the seabed using sound waves. Air guns fire powerful pulses downward, through water, mud, and rock, before they reflect back. This is how humans see through thousands of meters into the Earth. These streamers stretch up to 12 kilometers, longer than Mount Everest is tall if stood upright. They carry thousands of ultra-sensitive sensors, detecting vibrations far beyond human perception. A single day of data can reach millions of gigabytes, more than entire national libraries. Every 20 seconds, air guns fire, releasing pressure waves traveling at 1,500 meters per second. When they hit boundaries between rock layers, part of the signal reflects back. From this, scientists reconstruct a three-dimensional image of the subsurface. Semi-submersible rigs operate in waters up to 3,600 meters deep. From the platform, a drilling column kilometers long is lowered like a needle through water and into the earth. It is one of the most complex engineering systems ever built to find oil. The ROV is the human eye and hand in the deep ocean. Weighing several tons and protected by titanium, it connects to the surface through a thin fiber optic cable. Data and images stream back in real time with almost no delay. A movement that seems simple, but performed at 2,000 meters under crushing pressure. Operators control robotic arms with millimeter precision. This 1-meter core sample could hold answers worth billions of dollars. An FPSO processes, stores, and offloads oil entirely at sea. Can handle hundreds of thousands of barrels per day. In contested waters, its mobility becomes a strategic advantage fixed platforms cannot match. Each kilometer of deep-sea pipeline can cost over $10 million. These lines stretch hundreds of kilometers, linking wells to ships or shore. Repairing them is as complex as rebuilding a skyscraper underwater. Not every vessel at sea belongs to oil companies. Some are research ships operating quietly, collecting data never made public. And it is precisely that hidden data that raises the most questions. The Strait of Hormuz, a narrow stretch of water less than 50 kilometers wide at its narrowest point. Yet every day, around 21 million barrels of oil pass through it. Tankers move in organized lanes like highways at sea, carrying the energy that fuels the global economy. This is not just a shipping route, it is the main artery of the modern world. A VLCC, a very large crude carrier, can transport up to 2 million barrels of oil in a single journey. Stretching over 300 meters and weighing more than 300,000 tons fully loaded, these ships move slowly like drifting mountains. Their immense inertia means they require up to 8 kilometers to come to a full stop. Every day, hundreds of these giants silently carry energy across the planet. It is no coincidence that the world's most powerful navies maintain a presence here. Every oil shipping route is a strategic corridor that must be protected. Every offshore platform is a potential target. In these waters, energy and military power are inseparable. This is conflict without gunfire. A vessel appears not to attack, but to assert presence, to signal ownership over the waters. And whenever geological data begins to reveal valuable resources, these silent confrontations become more frequent. The flames burning atop offshore platforms are flared gas. Natural gas released alongside oil but burned due to lack of transport infrastructure. From space, these flames glow like artificial stars. Each one is a clear signal oil is being extracted below. In deep waters, such flames have yet to appear, but that may soon change. On maps, maritime borders are just straight lines. In reality, they are invisible. Water does not recognize ownership. Fish do not carry passports. But when oil lies beneath disputed zones, those invisible lines become boundaries worth billions. And suddenly, they matter immensely. This is a common scene in disputed waters. A survey vessel enters a contested zone and is quickly intercepted. No weapons, no collision. Just a clear message. The data beneath this seabed is not meant to be shared. From the deck of a drilling vessel in the Arabian Sea, there is no land in sight. Only endless water and sky. But beneath the ship, a drill string descends thousands of meters into the earth, searching for something that could reshape an entire region, or perhaps nothing at all. Hormuz is one of the busiest maritime routes on Earth. Hundreds of vessels pass through it daily. And if a new deep-sea oil field is confirmed to the south, that number will rise significantly. More opportunity, but also more risk. The Arabian Sea during storm season is one of the harshest environments for engineering on Earth. Waves rise to extreme heights, winds exceed 100 kilometers per hour, and underwater currents shift unpredictably. These forces can destroy any structure not built to perfection. It is one of the reasons why these deep waters remain largely unexplored. On the open ocean, every vessel is supposed to have an identity. But sometimes, there are ships that choose not to be seen. No clear flag, no AIS signal. They move through the darkness, appearing and disappearing from global tracking systems. And most notably, these gaps often occur in the deep Arabian Sea. AIS tracking systems can detect nearly every ship on Earth, but they are not perfect. Those who understand the system know exactly when and where to disappear. A vast stretch of ocean with no signals, no traces, in one of the world's most critical maritime regions. And that is no coincidence. At night, satellites reveal the truth most clearly. The Persian Gulf glows with hundreds of lights from offshore platforms and vessels. But beyond it, the Arabian Sea fades into complete darkness. No lights, no recorded activity. But in the world of energy, silence rarely means absence. It often means concealment. Beneath the surface, another world operates unseen. Military submarines move silently, collecting data, tracking signals, listening to every movement. In the deep-sea energy game, geological intelligence is as valuable as military intelligence. And nations are willing to go to great lengths to obtain it first. Sea fog hides everything, much like the world of deep-sea oil. The ships, the money, the power, it is all there. But no one sees the full picture. Each side sees only a fragment, or only what they are allowed to see. And within that fog, decisions are made that can reshape entire regions. From the Arabian deserts, massive sandstorms can sweep hundreds of kilometers out to sea, erasing visibility entirely. Surface operations come to a halt. But thousands of meters below, there is no storm, no wind. What lies beneath the seabed remains untouched by the chaos above. It has been there for millions of years, waiting. At sunset, offshore rigs appear almost beautiful, like silhouettes against a burning sky. But beneath that beauty lies a different reality. These machines drill deep into the earth, extracting resources that took millions of years to form. And every barrel brought to the surface is a piece of the past that will never return. Above the ocean, surveillance aircraft monitor every movement below. Every vessel, every platform, every anomaly is recorded. The data is analyzed, compared, and stored. In this world, almost nothing remains truly hidden, except for one thing: what lies deep beneath the seabed. From above, the Arabian Sea at dawn appears untouched by human hands. A flawless mirror reflecting a pale pink sky. Yet beneath that calm surface lie billions of tons of hydrocarbons, resting for hundreds of millions of years. The question has never been whether they exist, but who will claim them, and at what cost. The sea knows nothing of oil, nothing of money or power. Simply does what it has always done, moving, eroding, and reshaping the world. And when humanity is gone, the ocean will erase every trace. The only question is, before that happens, how much will we take? Every oil platform has an end. When the reserves run dry, these massive steel structures are dismantled, cut apart, and removed. The cost can reach billions of dollars. But what has been extracted never returns. On the seabed, only traces remain, steel memories of what once stood. Out at sea, there are moments when all boundaries disappear. Water and sky merge into a single horizon. And somewhere beneath that line, the answers remain hidden. Not in maps, not in political agreements, but within the silent layers of sediment far below. At sunset, the Arabian Sea becomes a breathtaking canvas of light, beautiful enough to make one forget what lies beneath. But as the light fades, darkness takes over. And in the depths where sunlight never reaches, the secrets remain untouched, waiting for those bold enough to uncover them. Night falls, and the ocean returns to its true nature: dark, deep, and endless. What lies beneath does not disappear. It only becomes quieter, more patient. The story of oil is not over. It is simply shifting from desert sands to ocean depths, and the seabed has not yet told its full story. Most of Earth's surface is not land, but water. These vast oceans hold unmatched power. This is a journey into the most extreme forces of nature on our planet. Nowhere on Earth does nature display its power more clearly than here. These waves are not only beautiful, they carry destructive energy. And yet, humans continue to venture out to sea. Every voyage is a confrontation with the unknown. No technology can eliminate the ocean's risks entirely. Only skill, discipline, and a measure of luck bring people safely home. Beneath the surface, massive ocean currents silently move millions of tons of water each second. They regulate Earth's climate and sustain billions of lives. Yet they can also tear a ship apart like paper. Thousands of years ago, humans ventured into the ocean with fragile wooden boats. No GPS, no forecasts, no communication, only the sky and instinct. That spirit has never left humanity. Today, technology allows us to see what is coming, but not to stop it. A single ocean storm can store energy equal to thousands of nuclear bombs. And it needs no reason to change course. More than 80% of the ocean remains unexplored, more than the surface of the moon. We know less about the seafloor than about Mars. This is not a failure of science, but proof of Earth's endless mystery. The Atlantic Ocean has witnessed humanity's greatest conquests, discoveries, and disasters. It connects continents, yet stands as a boundary between life and death. No ocean is more unpredictable than this one. With no warning, calm can turn into chaos within an hour. Even the most experienced sailors respect the Atlantic's unpredictability. This is an ocean no one dares to underestimate. Each hurricane season, the Atlantic generates dozens of tropical storms, some becoming massive hurricanes. They draw energy from warm waters and transform into engines of destruction. No human structure can withstand a Category 5 storm. In 1912, the unsinkable ship sank on its maiden voyage. The Titanic became a symbol of human arrogance against the ocean and its cost. Over 1,500 lives were lost in the freezing North Atlantic night. Conflicting currents can generate rogue waves, appearing without warning and reaching up to 30 meters. They can sink large ships in seconds. Once considered myth, they are now confirmed by science. The Bermuda Triangle, where ships and aircraft have vanished without a trace. Science offers explanations, yet the ocean still holds mysteries beyond our understanding. Climate change is warming ocean waters, leading to stronger and more frequent storms. Scientists predict a significant rise in Category 4 and 5 hurricanes this century. The Atlantic is becoming more dangerous over time. Despite the danger, some still venture out to save others. Rescue teams face the harshest conditions nature can create. Courage is not the absence of fear, but action in spite of it. If you gathered all continents together, they still would not fill the Pacific Ocean. It is the largest, deepest, and most mysterious ocean on Earth. Beneath it, geological forces reshape our planet every day. Pacific superstorms, known as typhoons, are the most intense storms on Earth. Typhoon Haiyan in 2013 reached winds of 315 kilometers per hour as it struck the Philippines. Over 6,000 lives were lost in less than 24 hours. The Pacific Ring of Fire is the most geologically active region on Earth. Over 75% of volcanoes and 90% of major earthquakes occur here. Tectonic plates constantly collide and subduct beneath one another. In 2004, an undersea earthquake triggered the deadliest tsunami in modern history. Waves traveled at jet speed, claiming over 230,000 lives. There was no warning, only the sea pulling back, then rushing in. El Niño, meaning the child in Spanish, is a climate phenomenon driven by the Pacific. When warm waters spread, they trigger droughts, floods, and global climate shifts. One ocean can reshape the world. The same ocean that creates typhoons also sustains the most beautiful ecosystems on Earth. The Great Barrier Reef is the largest living structure on the planet, visible from space. Yet it is slowly dying as ocean temperatures rise. Below 200 meters, sunlight disappears. This is another world, cold, dark, and silent. Humans can only reach it with technology, and even then, it is never completely safe. Yet some choose to cross the Pacific alone in a kayak, simply to prove it can be done. Sarah Outen and Roz Savage seek not fame, but their own limits. And the ocean is the harshest teacher they have ever faced. At the southern tip of South America, where two oceans meet, lies Cape Horn, the end of the world. For centuries, it has been the nightmare of sailors. Not all who reach it succeed, and not all who succeed return. Where the Atlantic and Pacific collide, waves stack from opposing directions. They defy patterns, rising unpredictably into towering peaks. Winds often exceed 200 kilometers per hour, known by sailors as the roaring winds. Before the Panama Canal, Cape Horn was the only route between oceans. Hundreds of ships risked their lives each year to pass it. These waters have claimed countless vessels and some of the bravest sailors in history. Beyond waves and wind, icebergs pose a third deadly threat. Drifting from Antarctica, most remain hidden beneath the surface. A single collision in the dark can end a journey instantly. Among sailors, solo navigation around Cape Horn is the ultimate test. Not for pride, but as a reminder they did not turn away from fear. Rarely, Cape Horn offers a moment of peace. The sea becomes still, sunlight reflects across its surface, and the air is crisp and pure. It is a reward for those with enough patience and enough luck. At the southernmost point of the planet lies the last continent humans reached, Antarctica. It is the coldest, windiest, and driest place on Earth, and the largest desert. No one truly lives here. Nothing lasts here except ice and mystery. Roald Amundsen and Robert Falcon Scott raced to this point of no return in 1911. Amundsen made it back. Scott did not. He and his team perished in a blizzard just 18 kilometers from safety. Antarctica does not forgive mistakes. It never has. Antarctic blizzards can form within minutes and last for days. Winds can reach 320 kilometers per hour, turning everything into a single white void. Leaving shelter without guidance in such conditions is a mistake you only make once. Antarctic waters produce the largest icebergs ever recorded, larger than entire countries. As they break and drift, they become hazards across thousands of kilometers. Beneath the surface, most of their mass remains hidden. Amid this harshness, life persists. Emperor penguins. They raise their young at -60 degrees Celsius in darkness and storms. If they can endure this, resilience is not unique to humans. Crevasses are hidden traps, plunging dozens of meters deep beneath thin snow. They offer no warning. Many explorers have fallen into these icy voids, never to be seen again. Yet Antarctica also holds indescribable beauty. The aurora australis transforms the night sky into flowing curtains of light. Here, violence and beauty coexist inseparable. If Mount Everest were placed into the Mariana Trench, its peak would still be over 2 kilometers below the surface. This is the deepest point on Earth, 11,034 meters below sea level. Humans have only visited it a handful of times. In 2012, James Cameron descended alone to the deepest point on Earth. He spent nearly 3 hours in a vessel enduring pressures 1,000 times greater than at the surface. What he found was not emptiness, but a surprisingly vibrant world. In a place without light, with little oxygen, and crushing pressure, life still thrives. These organisms have evolved to survive extreme conditions. They prove that life does not need perfection, only opportunity. Bioluminescence is the language of creatures that have never seen the sun. They use light to hunt, communicate, and attract mates. Each species has its own light code, evolved over millions of years in darkness. On the ocean floor, geothermal energy escapes through hydrothermal vents. Around them exist rich ecosystems that do not rely on sunlight. These may hold clues to the origin of life on Earth and possibly beyond. Every sample from the Mariana Trench may contain unknown biological compounds. These could lead to new medicines or deeper insights into life. The deep ocean is a treasure we have yet to unlock. But when humans reached the deepest point on Earth, what did they find? Plastic bag. Our waste arrived before we did. The ocean is not just a place to explore. It is a mirror reflecting what we are doing to our planet. Most volcanic activity on Earth occurs beneath the ocean, hidden from human sight. Lava forms the longest mountain ranges on the planet, like the Mid-Atlantic Ridge stretching over 70,000 kilometers. Earth is constantly reshaping itself in the darkness below. Nearly every deep-sea expedition reveals new species. Millions of organisms remain undescribed and unnamed. We share this planet with life forms we have yet to discover. Remotely operated vehicles, or ROVs, have opened a new era of ocean exploration. They reach places humans cannot and return images that reshape science. Yet even now, we have seen only a fraction of what lies below. The seafloor is a vast archive of Earth's history, its sediments recording ancient eras. Within them are microorganisms that have survived since the age of dinosaurs and still live today. It is the greatest natural library, and we have only read its first pages. From the restless Atlantic to the powerful Pacific, from the harsh Cape Horn to the depths of the Mariana Trench. The ocean is not a postcard backdrop. It is the most dynamic force on this planet. It creates life, sustains life, and can erase it in a single moment of fury. Humans do not go to sea for safety. No one seeks safety where none exists. They go because the ocean calls them, because beyond the horizon lies the unknown. It is humanity's oldest instinct, to be curious, to explore, to move forward. We call this planet Earth, yet 71% of it is water. The ocean is not a part of Earth. Earth is a part of the ocean. And the journey to explore it, no matter how dangerous or unfinished, is still ongoing. There is a moment when you stand before the ocean and feel that everything is safe. The water is perfectly still. The light is soft. The wind is gentle. And yet, it may be the most dangerous moment you have ever experienced, without even realizing it. For centuries, humanity learned to read the sky to predict danger. Dark clouds, violent winds, towering waves, the familiar signs of an approaching storm. But the ocean's true enemies never reveal themselves. Beneath every calm ocean surface lies a massive system constantly in motion. Currents, thermal layers, immense pressure, all existing in silence. The ocean does not need storms to become deadly. There are oceans on this planet that humanity has misunderstood for centuries. Not because they are loud or violent, but because they are too silent, too deep, too cold. This is a journey into those places. The greatest danger of the ocean is not what we can see. It is the invisible forces surrounding us every second, every minute. And by the time you notice them, it is usually too late. This is not a story about monsters or storms. This is a story about invisible forces that science is only beginning to understand, and about the absolute smallness of humanity before the true ocean. The Black Sea appears no different from any other ocean from above. Deep blue water, sometimes rough, sometimes calm like a lake. But beneath its surface lies one of the strangest structures on this planet. The Black Sea is divided into two completely separate worlds by an invisible boundary. Above it, light and oxygen still exist. Below it lies a dead zone. More than 80% of the Black Sea's volume is filled with highly toxic hydrogen sulfide gas. Hydrogen sulfide, the gas known for its rotten egg smell, has accumulated here for thousands of years with nowhere to escape. No ordinary bacteria can survive there. No creature can breathe. It is one of the largest dead marine zones ever created by nature. The boundary between these two layers is called the chemocline, an invisible transition zone. Cross just a few dozen meters downward, and you move from a living world into a dead one. No warning signs, no visible color change. Nothing at all. Because there is no oxygen, no organism can decompose material at the bottom of the Black Sea. Shipwrecks that sank thousands of years ago remain almost perfectly preserved. The Black Sea is a perfect graveyard and a reminder of the terrifying power of invisible boundaries. The entire ecosystem of the Black Sea survives within a thin upper layer only about 150 meters deep. Beneath it, there are no fish, no plants, nothing we would recognize as life. A boundary so thin it becomes terrifying. From the surface, the Black Sea looks completely harmless on an autumn evening. No one can see the toxic layer below. No one can feel that invisible boundary. That is the nature of unseen dangers. They never need to reveal themselves. The Red Sea is one of the most beautiful oceans on Earth, and also one of the harshest. Surrounded by deserts and exposed to scorching sunlight for hundreds of days each year. Its beauty is only the outer layer of an extreme environmental system. The Red Sea receives very little fresh water, while evaporation intensifies under extreme heat. As a result, its salinity ranks among the highest in the world, placing enormous stress on every form of life. The water here is not only hot, it feels dense, heavy, and difficult to survive in. At the bottom of the Red Sea exist formations known as brine pools, ultrasaline lakes beneath the ocean. They are many times saltier than normal seawater, so dense that objects seem to float on them like a solid surface. And they contain chemicals capable of killing living organisms within minutes. Surface temperatures in the Red Sea during summer can reach up to 34 degrees Celsius. For divers, that level of heat can cause dehydration and exhaustion surprisingly fast, even without intense activity. The danger of the Red Sea does not come from storms. It comes from a harsh environment working silently over time. The beauty of the Red Sea's coral reefs makes people forget where they truly are. A sea trapped between two arid continents, far from rescue, unusually hot and intensely salty. The ocean is often most beautiful in the places where it is also most dangerous. When the sun sets over the Red Sea, the air cools, but the water still holds the heat of the day. The temperature difference creates strange air movements and unpredictable currents. Silence does not mean safety. It never has. Between the tip of South America and the northern edge of Antarctica lies only 800 kilometers of water. But within that narrow space, the Atlantic, Pacific, and Southern Oceans collide. The Drake Passage is where some of the most powerful oceanic forces on Earth converge. Waves in the Drake Passage regularly reach heights of 10 to 15 meters, taller than a four-story building. Winds blow endlessly without being blocked by any continent, gathering energy across thousands of kilometers. Every wave is the result of a journey around Antarctica itself. Conditions in the Drake Passage can transform completely within just a few hours. The sea may appear manageable in the morning, then become a nightmare of massive waves by afternoon. No forecasting system can perfectly predict such extreme changes. Beneath the waves flows the Antarctic Circumpolar Current, the most powerful current on Earth. It carries a volume of water 150 times greater than all the world's rivers combined. Nothing can resist it, and there is nowhere to hide between the ends of the planet. Icebergs add yet another danger to the Drake Passage, most of their mass hidden beneath the surface. Radar cannot always detect them through heavy fog and violent seas. A multi-million-ton object, nearly invisible, moving directly toward your ship. Those who have crossed the Drake Passage often say there are no words capable of describing the experience. It is not fear. It is the overwhelming realization of how small humanity truly is. The Drake Passage does not care who you are. It never has. The Bering Sea lies between Alaska and Siberia, where two completely different geographic worlds collide. In winter, it becomes one of the harshest places humans have ever entered. But not because it is constantly violent, rather because it can change without warning. Ice accumulation on ships is one of the least understood dangers of the Bering Sea. Freezing salt spray rapidly builds across every surface, adding weight and destroying balance. Within hours, a stable vessel can become impossible to control. Blizzards in the Bering Sea can reduce visibility to less than 10 meters within minutes. Radar becomes distorted by snow and salt. GPS signals may fail under extreme conditions. You no longer know where you are going, and no one else knows where you are. Yet the Bering Sea is also one of the richest ecosystems on Earth. Millions of seabirds, whales, seals, and salmon depend on its immense supply of nutrients. Here, life and death exist side by side, separated only by a sudden change in weather. The deadliest aspect of the Bering Sea is not the storms, but the speed of change. Temperatures can drop by 15 degrees within hours. Winds can double in strength within minutes. The human body cannot adapt to change at that pace. In the middle of winter, the Bering Sea receives only a few hours of daylight. The rest is total darkness, blizzards, and waves you can hear but cannot see. Losing your sense of direction in darkness at sea is a danger no technology can fully overcome. Cape Horn is the southernmost point of the Americas, a lonely rock rising from a violent ocean. For centuries, every ship traveling between the Atlantic and Pacific had to pass this point. And the passage demanded a terrible price. More than 800 ships are believed to have sunk in these waters. The seafloor around Cape Horn is what makes the waves here exceptionally chaotic. Deep ocean water suddenly collides with shallow regions, compressing wave energy into violent and unpredictable bursts. A single wave can split into several smaller waves moving in completely different directions. The winds around Cape Horn carry terrifying names: the Roaring Forties and the Furious 50s. These names are not poetry. They are lessons written in the survival stories of sailors. The wind does not merely blow hard. It changes direction without warning, destroying every navigation plan. There is a lighthouse on Cape Horn, one of the loneliest stations on Earth. Its keeper lives there for months, watching the sea, sometimes witnessing ships sink with no ability to help. Not because of a lack of skill, but because the distance between humans and rescue becomes meaningless here. Sailors say that surviving Cape Horn is one of the greatest achievements in maritime history. Not because it is distant, but because nature leaves you with no advantage there. Cape Horn, everything favors the ocean, never you. The Arctic Ocean is the smallest ocean on Earth, yet dangerous in ways few people truly understand. Not because of storms, not because of giant waves, but because of the cold, the darkness, and the absolute isolation. This is a place where the nearest rescue may take days to arrive. When the human body touches near-freezing water, the first reaction is an uncontrollable gasp for air. If you are already falling beneath the surface, that single breath can fill your lungs with water instantly. No deep ocean is required. No giant wave. Only the moment you enter the water. In water near 0 degrees Celsius, a healthy adult may lose consciousness within roughly 15 minutes. No swimming skill can extend survival for very long. No determination can overcome human physiology. This is not weakness. It is the physical limit of the human body. During winter, large regions of the Arctic Ocean receive no sunlight for weeks at a time. Total darkness. Temperatures below -40 degrees. Ice that can fracture without warning beneath your feet. This is an environment humans were never evolved to survive in. Humanity built nuclear icebreakers in an attempt to conquer the Arctic Ocean. Massive ships weighing tens of thousands of tons, powered by engines stronger than many warships. And still, they move only a few kilometers per hour. The ocean has not been conquered. It is merely tolerating us. The Southern Ocean is the only ocean on Earth that completely circles a continent without interruption by land. Winds and waves can travel around the planet without anything stopping them. That is why the energy here never truly dissipates. The waves of the Southern Ocean are unlike anywhere else on Earth. They do not immediately crash. They rise as massive moving walls of water. The result of thousands of kilometers of open ocean where energy never fades away. The Antarctic Circumpolar Current is the most powerful current on the planet. It moves around 130 million cubic meters of water every second, more than 100 times the flow of all rivers on Earth combined. Nothing was designed to remain still inside such a system. Even scientists working in the Southern Ocean describe it with a unique sense of fear and respect. Not because they are unprepared, but because no preparation can ever be enough for a place like this. Knowledge cannot overcome distance. And here, distance is the real enemy. Sometimes the Southern Ocean reveals a beauty found nowhere else on Earth. Aurora lights reflecting across the water. Stars burning bright in skies untouched by human light. But this beauty is not an invitation. It is nature's complete indifference to your existence. The Southern Ocean is not only dangerous, it is the heart of the planet's global ocean circulation system. Cold water sinks here and travels across the world's oceans. What happens in this region affects the climate of the entire planet every single day. We taught our children that rough seas are dangerous while calm seas are safe. But the Black Sea teaches us that danger can exist within invisible layers. The Red Sea teaches us that extreme environments do not need violence. They only need time. Drake Passage and Cape Horn teach us that sudden change is more dangerous than a storm we can predict. The Arctic Ocean teaches us that isolation and cold can kill faster than any wave. The Southern Ocean reminds us that some places on Earth were never meant for human presence. The ocean is not our enemy. It is simply itself vast, ancient, and completely indifferent. The greatest danger is not what we can see, but what we believe we already understand. And perhaps the wisest lesson humanity can learn from the ocean is knowing what truly deserves our fear and respect. On the world map, there is a narrow strip of water less than 33 kilometers wide, so small it is easy to overlook. Yet every day, 30% of the world's oil passes through here. It is called the lifeline of civilization. Every day, around 21 million barrels of oil silently pass through here, carried by massive tankers longer than 3 football fields. They come from the oil fields of Arabia and travel to every corner of the world. There is no alternative route. The Strait of Hormuz lies between Iran and the Arabian Peninsula, a single gateway connecting the Persian Gulf to the Indian Ocean. Its full width is 33 kilometers, but the actual shipping lanes are only about 3 kilometers each way. It is one of the most closely monitored geographic spaces on Earth. Thousands of years ago, Arab traders sailed these waters, carrying spices, pearls, and silk to India. Hormuz was once an independent trading empire where sea routes converged. Its role has changed, but its importance has never diminished. The human body can survive weeks without food and days without water, but only minutes without breathing. The global economy is the same. It can endure many shocks, but it cannot survive if Hormuz is closed. That is why this place is called the throat of the world. "21 million barrels of oil. That is what the Strait of Hormuz must digest every single day. If poured into Olympic swimming pools, it would fill over 30,000 of them. No other oil transit route on Earth comes close to this scale. China is the world's largest oil importer, and much of it must pass through Hormuz. Every factory running, every car moving, every building being heated in China is tied to this narrow stretch of water. It is a geographic dependency Beijing has never been comfortable with. Japan imports over 90% of its oil through Hormuz. With no significant domestic energy and no pipeline alternatives, it relies entirely on tankers and a single strait. South Korea faces a similar reality. For both nations, Hormuz is not a choice, it is geographic destiny. If supply through Hormuz is disrupted for just a few days, global oil prices could surge by tens of % within 24 hours. And when oil rises, everything rises: transport, manufacturing, food, electricity. The global supply chain tightens like a body cut off from its blood flow. We often think of oil as fuel for cars or planes. But it is also the foundation of plastics, fertilizers, pesticides, paints, synthetic fabrics, and thousands of other products. Half the items in the room you are in contain petroleum derivatives. Hormuz doesn't just carry fuel, it carries modern industry itself. India, one of the fastest-growing economies in the world, is also increasing its dependence on Gulf oil. The Jamnagar refinery processes over 1 million barrels a day, most of it arriving through Hormuz. The prosperity of hundreds of millions of Indians is anchored to a strait thousands of nautical miles from Mumbai. The northern shore of the strait belongs to Iran, the country that controls much of this strategic waterway. From here, every passing vessel is within sight, radar range, and if necessary, missile range of Tehran. It is one of the rare geographic advantages Iran holds in the global geopolitical game. Along Iran's coastline, anti-ship missiles like Noor and Khalij are positioned on rugged mountain terrain. They can strike targets hundreds of kilometers away, and within the narrow confines of Hormuz, no vessel can escape their range. This is asymmetric warfare, low-cost, high destructive impact. Iran does not rely only on exposed weapons. Inside coastal mountain ranges, underground bases carved into rock-house fast boats, missiles, and command centers. Satellite imagery cannot fully reveal them. Conventional bombs cannot easily penetrate them. This is a hidden card Iran holds, and its adversaries know it well. A $13 billion U.S. aircraft carrier can be overwhelmed by hundreds of small speedboats worth only tens of thousands each. This is the swarm tactic Iran has practiced for decades, attacking simultaneously from all directions with speed and overwhelming numbers. In the narrow waters of Hormuz, traditional technological superiority becomes ineffective. Beneath the strait, where no human eye can see, Iran could deploy thousands of naval mines within hours. A single mine can tear open the hull of a supertanker. And once a few ships are damaged or sunk, the entire route can be shut down, not by force but by fear. It is one of the most effective psychological weapons in Hormuz. In response, the United States Navy maintains a constant military presence in the Gulf and the Strait. The Fifth Fleet, based in Bahrain, patrols 24/7, with ships, radar, and satellites tracking every movement. It is a never-ending mutual surveillance, and both sides know a single mistake could trigger disaster. What sounds like a hypothesis has already happened multiple times. In 2019, several oil tankers were attacked near Hormuz, their hulls breached and crews thrown into panic. Oil prices spiked instantly, and global financial markets trembled. Just a few attacks, without full-scale war, were enough to trigger worldwide economic anxiety. In summer, temperatures in Hormuz can exceed 50 degrees Celsius. The sea becomes a mirror reflecting intense heat, and metal surfaces on ships can burn skin on contact. Crews work in conditions nearly beyond human tolerance, while electronic systems frequently fail under extreme temperatures. From the Arabian desert, massive sandstorms regularly sweep into the strait, reducing visibility from kilometers to zero within minutes. Navigating a 330-meter-long tanker through a 3-kilometer channel without sight is a challenge captains must face. Radar becomes the only eye, yet even it can be disrupted in the storm. Hundreds of oil tankers operating simultaneously, burning low-grade heavy fuel, create a persistent haze over the strait. Combined with high humidity from the sea and desert sand, the air becomes dense and hazardous. It is one of the most polluted marine regions on the planet. A supertanker requires 3 to 5 kilometers to come to a full stop. In Hormuz's narrow 3-kilometer shipping lane, that means there is no margin for error. Captains must make split-second decisions, relying on years of experience and nerves of steel. A single collision could sink hundreds of millions of dollars and trigger a devastating oil spill in these confined waters. the gateway of the strait, Hormuz Island appears like a work of art from above. Vivid red soil rich in iron oxide, interwoven with streaks of white, yellow, purple, and orange. It is known as the Rainbow Island. Beneath these extraordinary colors lies a history of thousands of years, when this region was once a global trade hub. The people of Hormuz do something few places in the world can claim. They eat the earth. This red soil, rich in iron oxide and minerals known as galak, is mixed into bread, used as a seasoning, or even eaten on its own. It is not poverty, but a unique culinary tradition deeply connected to the island's unusual geology. Every morning, fishermen set out to sea on small wooden boats, following traditions passed down for centuries. And every morning, they share the water with steel giants over 300 meters long, carrying oil for the global economy. Two worlds could not be more different, yet they coexist on the same narrow stretch of water. Bandar Abbas, a city of 500,000 on the northern shore, exists because of Hormuz and lives through it. Its port is Iran's main trade gateway, where goods from around the world arrive and Iranian oil flows out. For the people here, geopolitics is not abstract. It is their jobs, their income, and their daily lives. As the sun sets behind anchored oil tankers, Hormuz reveals a breathtaking beauty, red, orange, and purple blending across the calm sea. It is a moment where grandeur and fragility coexist. The pure beauty of nature, and beneath it, the ever-present tension of geopolitics. Saudi Arabia and the UAE have built pipelines across the desert to reduce dependence on Hormuz. But their total capacity can only handle about 20% of the required oil flow. The remaining 80% has no route except the strait. And building more pipelines? It would cost hundreds of billions of dollars, take decades, and face nearly insurmountable terrain challenges. In theory, tankers could reroute around the Cape of Good Hope in Africa. But that would add thousands of nautical miles, weeks of travel, and dramatically higher costs. Oil prices would rise 10 to 15% from transport alone, and the world would need twice as many tankers. It is not impossible, just too expensive to be practical. The world is transitioning toward renewable energy, but far more slowly than headlines suggest. Oil will still dominate global energy at least until the mid-21st century. During this transition, Hormuz remains irreplaceable. Dependency does not disappear overnight, it fades gradually over decades. Experts have modeled a scenario where Hormuz is closed for just 48 hours. Within the first 6 hours, global financial markets begin to tremble. By hour 24, oil prices could exceed $200 per barrel. By 48 hours, some Asian governments may convene emergency cabinets. No war is needed, just 2 days of closure. Globalization has created unprecedented prosperity, but it has also created critical vulnerabilities. Hormuz is the clearest example, A $100 trillion global economy depends on a narrow 33-kilometer strip of water. That is not strength, it is fragility dressed as prosperity. Every oil tanker that passes safely through Hormuz is the result of a delicate balance between Iran and the United States, between Saudi Arabia and its neighbors, between geopolitical calculations and economic interests. Peace here is not luck. It is the product of constant restraint, day after day. And that restraint can break at any moment. Modern civilization is built on energy, and that energy must pass through Hormuz. We have created megacities, global supply chains, and complex transport networks, all relying on the uninterrupted flow through a strait narrower than a single city. It is one of the greatest contradictions of our time. Every morning, Hormuz awakens and continues its work, quiet, unseen, yet indispensable. As long as the world needs oil and economies remain interconnected, this strait will remain a crossroads of destinies. A narrow 33-kilometer strip of water, small on the map, yet carrying the weight of an entire civilization. In the middle of the Atlantic Ocean lies a region known for centuries, yet never fully understood. Dozens of ships and aircraft have vanished without a trace. No wreckage, no debris, no clear explanation. This is the story of one of the greatest mysteries that modern science has yet to fully solve. The Bermuda Triangle spans more than 1.1 million square kilometers and lies along one of the busiest shipping and aviation routes between the Americas and Europe. Within this region lies the Puerto Rico Trench, the deepest point in the Atlantic Ocean at 8,376 meters, where sunlight never reaches and pressure is immense enough to crush ships instantly. The powerful Gulf Stream flows through the region at speeds up to 9 kilometers per hour, strong enough to scatter debris within hours. The seafloor also changes dramatically from shallow continental shelves to deep ocean trenches, creating unpredictable currents and underwater turbulence. The Bermuda Triangle sits within one of the most active hurricane zones on Earth. Between 8 and 12 major storms pass through this region every year. Calm skies can transform into violent storms within minutes. One of the earliest historical accounts comes from Christopher Columbus. In 1492, he reported strange compass readings and mysterious lights beneath the ocean surface. He also described a fireball falling into the sea while passing through the region. Bermuda is one of the few places on Earth where magnetic north and true north align. This unusual phenomenon can confuse navigators unfamiliar with the region. The Bermuda Triangle lies near the boundaries of several tectonic plates. Underwater earthquakes and volcanic activity can cause sudden disturbances beneath the ocean floor. Weather satellites have observed unusual hexagonal cloud formations in the region. Scientists believe these clouds may generate powerful air bombs, intense downdrafts that strike the ocean surface. Massive methane hydrate deposits exist beneath the seafloor. When released suddenly, the gas bubbles can reduce water density, potentially causing ships to lose buoyancy and sink rapidly. Since the 1800s, more than 50 ships and 20 aircraft have reportedly disappeared in the Bermuda Triangle, taking over 1,000 lives with them. On December 5, 1945, Flight 19, a squadron of 5 TBF Avenger aircraft, departed from Fort Lauderdale on a routine training mission. 14 experienced pilots, clear weather, and full fuel tanks. There was no reason for concern. None of them knew this would be their final flight. All 5 aircraft disappeared without a trace, leaving behind no wreckage. 2 hours after takeoff, the leader of Flight 19 transmitted a distress message. "We cannot determine our position. We don't know where we are. The ocean looks strange." The compasses on all 5 aircraft began spinning wildly. The final signal was recorded at 7:04 p.m. After that, there was only silence. The U.S. Navy launched a massive search operation involving hundreds of ships and aircraft. A rescue plane, a PBM Mariner carrying 13 crew members, also disappeared that same night. A nearby tanker reported seeing a large explosion in the sky. No wreckage was ever recovered. In March 1918, the USS Cyclops left Barbados carrying 309 people and over 10,000 tons of manganese ore. The massive ship vanished completely on its way to Baltimore. No distress signal, no wreckage, no bodies were ever found. President Woodrow Wilson later said, "Only God and the sea know what happened to that ship." In December 1948, a DC-3 carrying 32 passengers from Puerto Rico to Miami vanished just 50 miles from Miami. The weather was perfect and the final radio transmission sounded completely normal. There were no signs of trouble before the aircraft disappeared. In 1881, the merchant ship Ellen Austin discovered an abandoned sailing vessel drifting at sea. The sails were intact and the cargo untouched, yet there was not a single person aboard. When a small crew was sent to guide the ghost ship back to port, it vanished into the fog only a day later. The Mary Celeste, perhaps the most famous ghost ship in maritime history, was found drifting in 1872. Food was still on the table, a glass of wine remained untouched, and personal belongings were left behind. Yet all 10 people aboard had completely vanished. Within just 13 months, British South American Airways lost 2 Tudor 4 aircraft in the Bermuda Triangle, Star Tiger in 1948 and Star Ariel in 1949. Both aircraft disappeared without leaving any trace. In December 1967, the yacht Witchcraft contacted the Coast Guard after a minor collision just 1 mile from Miami. 19 minutes later, rescuers arrived at the location, but the vessel had completely vanished. Joshua Slocum, the first man to sail solo around the world, disappeared in 1909 while traveling through the Bermuda region. Neither he nor his vessel, the Spray, was ever found. Many pilots and captains who survived reported strange phenomena: spinning compasses, sudden electronic failures, and a white haze surrounding the aircraft or ship. Some managed to escape the region, but many others never did. Lloyd's of London, the world's oldest maritime insurance institution, has handled numerous disappearance claims in this region for over a century. Insurance premiums for ships traveling through the area are often significantly higher than for other routes. The Puerto Rico Trench, descending 8,376 meters, is one of the darkest and most mysterious places on Earth. Humanity has explored less than 20% of the global ocean floor. The rest remains an unknown abyss. Within that darkness, what exists may be far beyond the imagination of modern science. The giant squid Architeuthis lives between 300 and 1,000 meters deep. Until 2004, humanity had never captured a live image of this creature. We only knew it through washed-ashore carcasses and massive sucker marks found on sperm whales. Sonar systems on several research vessels have detected unusual echoes, objects moving with speeds and trajectories that do not match known marine life. In 1997, NOAA recorded a mysterious underwater sound known as the bloop, audible across thousands of kilometers. The Greenland shark can live up to 500 years and swims at depths exceeding 2,000 meters. A shark alive today may have already existed when Columbus crossed the Atlantic. These creatures move slowly and silently through the dark ocean. Many divers and sailors have reported sightings of massive sea creatures measuring between 15 and 30 meters long. Some do not match any known species. History has shown that creatures once believed extinct may still survive in the deep ocean. The deep ocean hosts some of the strangest life forms on the planet. Many species have yet to be named or classified. Scientists estimate that over 90% of marine life remains undiscovered. Deep-sea exploration robots have occasionally recorded unusual rock formations arranged in seemingly geometric patterns on the seafloor. Are these rare geological structures or traces of something else entirely? Beneath the calm surface lies a complex system of massive underwater vortices. These currents can drag objects hundreds of meters downward and carry them across vast distances. Deep beneath the ocean live microorganisms that require no sunlight at all. They survive by drawing energy from chemical reactions between rock and water. These organisms may represent some of the oldest ecosystems on Earth. Some scientists suggest the deep ocean may hide descendants of ancient marine creatures. The deep sea is one of the most stable environments on Earth, changing very little over millions of years. Along tectonic plate boundaries, hydrothermal vents release superheated water reaching temperatures of 400 degrees Celsius. Around them exists a unique ecosystem that thrives without sunlight. Some researchers believe low-frequency infrasound waves may disorient humans. These frequencies can influence the brain and visual perception, creating confusion and panic. Scientific expeditions reveal that the deep ocean remains the largest unexplored frontier on Earth. In fact, scientists often admit that humanity knows more about the surface of Mars than about the depths of our own oceans. In 1968, diver Joseph Valentine discovered the Bimini Road, massive limestone blocks arranged in a straight line beneath the waters near Bimini in the Bahamas. The formation stretches nearly 800 meters, with some stones weighing up to 25 tons. Some geologists argue the formation is natural beach rock fractured over time. However, others point out that several stones have sharp angles and flat surfaces resembling human construction. 12,000 years ago, global sea levels were about 120 meters lower than today. Vast regions now submerged beneath the ocean were once dry land. Sonar images of the Bahamian seafloor reveal unusual geometric patterns, squares and rectangles hidden beneath sand and coral. Some researchers believe these formations resemble ancient structures. Some sonar reports have suggested the presence of pyramid-like structures beneath the ocean near Bermuda. If confirmed, they could be larger than the Great Pyramid of Giza. Some researchers believe the positions of ancient pyramids around the world may align along specific meridian lines. The philosopher Plato once wrote about Atlantis, a powerful civilization in the Atlantic Ocean that vanished beneath the sea after a catastrophic disaster. Some divers have reported hexagonal stone pillars arranged in circular formations on the Bahamian seabed. Their geometric shapes raise questions about their origin. Independent researchers have claimed to find stone tools and ceramic fragments beneath the Caribbean seafloor. If verified, these artifacts could date back more than 10,000 years. Edgar Cayce once predicted that remnants of Atlantis would be discovered near Bimini in the late 1960s. In 1968, the Bimini Road was found. Some authors have proposed that ancient technology might generate energy fields capable of disrupting electronic devices. However, this idea is not supported by mainstream science. In 2001, a research team reported discovering large underwater structures off the coast of Cuba at a depth of around 700 meters. Sonar images appeared to show shapes resembling streets and plazas. Some researchers believe that certain seabed survey data has never been widely released. This has fueled speculation about what might truly lie beneath the region. High-resolution sonar, deep-sea robots, and artificial intelligence are now helping scientists explore the ocean in unprecedented detail. The Bermuda Triangle remains there, calm and mysterious in the Atlantic Ocean. What lies beneath its deep blue waters may remain one of the greatest mysteries of the sea. Beneath the surface of over 70% of the Earth lies a world humanity has yet to fully understand. It is not a realm of darkness and desolation, but a universe alive with vibrant wonder. Today, we dive together into the most magical place on the planet, the coral reefs. Thousands of years before humans set foot on the moon, tiny creatures were building the greatest structures on Earth. Coral reefs, constructed by organisms no larger than a finger, stretch for thousands of kilometers. They are the cities of the ocean, and every corner holds untold stories. Scientists estimate that the oceans contain around 250,000 recorded species, but the actual number could be 10 times higher. Coral reefs, covering less than 1% of the ocean floor, are home to over 25% of all marine species. It is the most astonishing biodiversity density on the planet. But this magical world is disappearing at an alarming rate. Over 50% of the world's coral reefs have been impacted by humans through climate change, pollution, and destructive fishing. Before they vanish, let us meet the most extraordinary inhabitants of this underwater world. They are not monsters. They are not dangerous. They are living works of art, refined by millions of years of evolution. Every shape, every color, every behavior is a solution to the puzzle of survival. Coral reefs only exist within a narrow band around the equator, where seawater temperatures range from 22 to 28 degrees Celsius. Light must be strong, salinity stable. These are the strict conditions nature has maintained for millions of years. Today, we will explore the 15 most unique creatures of this extraordinary world. Take a close look. Can you see the crab hiding in this image? The orangutan crab is a master of fur camouflage. Its dense orange-red hair perfectly mimics the texture of the sponge where it lives and feeds. The relationship between the orangutan crab and the sponge is a prime example of symbiosis in nature. The crab gains protection through camouflage. The sponge is cleaned of debris. This is not by chance. It is the result of millions of years of coevolution. When danger approaches, the orangutan crab does not flee. It simply stands still. Its perfect stillness combined with camouflage makes it almost invisible to predatory fish. This is one of the oldest survival strategies in nature. Do not be seen. In the natural world, vibrant beauty is often a warning. Stay away from me. The dwarf lionfish is one of the most beautiful and dangerous fish on the reef. Its fan-like, colorful fins contain venomous spines that can cause severe pain to anyone foolish enough to touch them. But venom is not their only weapon. The dwarf lionfish is also a formidable, patient hunter. It stands motionless for hours, waiting for prey to approach with innocent confidence. Then, in a lightning strike, the meal is done, all in less than a second. The dwarf lionfish's colors are not just to warn predators. They are also a language of love. During mating season, males spread their fins as wide as possible to attract females. The more vibrant and striking the display, the stronger the signal of health and good genes. This is a rock, or maybe not. The hairy frogfish is a master of camouflage, sometimes fooling even scientists into a double take. Its skin is covered in fake hairs and bumps mimicking algae, moss, and the surface of coral rocks. The hairy frogfish possesses a unique hunting tool, a fishing rod growing from its forehead. This elysium ends with a lure that looks exactly like a swimming shrimp or worm. The frogfish sits still, wiggling the lure, waiting for prey to come close. When the prey is close enough, the hairy frogfish strikes with astonishing speed. Its mouth opens wide, sucking in the prey in just 6 milliseconds, faster than a human brain can react. It is one of the fastest strikes in the animal kingdom. Nature designed the coral butterflyfish's snout like a surgical tweezer. Long, thin, and slightly curved, it allows the fish to reach crevices no other fish can. There, it finds coral polyps, small worms, and hidden crustaceans. But the snout is not the butterflyfish's only defense. Look at its tail. A large dark spot resembles an eye. This false eye deceives predators. Attacking the wrong end, the butterflyfish darts in the opposite direction, narrowly escaping. As night falls over the coral reef, a completely different world awakens. Lantern cardinalfish gather in massive schools, and they glow. Bioluminescence is not just beautiful. It's a language, a navigation system, and a hunting tool all in one. The unusually large eyes of the lantern cardinalfish are no accident. They are ultrasensitive light detectors. At night, they hunt plankton using their own light as a flashlight. In total darkness, they are the tiny living lanterns of the ocean. If you think the leafy sea dragon is just an oddly shaped fish, think again. Each leaf on its body serves no purpose in movement. They are purely for camouflage. The creature moves using tiny, transparent fins that vibrate so quickly they are nearly invisible to the naked eye. But the strangest thing about the leafy sea dragon is not its appearance. It's who gets pregnant. In this species, the male carries the eggs. The female deposits them into a special pouch on the male's belly. The male nurtures and protects the eggs until the young hatch, a complete reversal of typical gender roles. When the eggs hatch, the tiny sea dragons are perfect miniature replicas of their parents. They receive no post-hatching care. They must fend for themselves in the vast ocean. Yet their perfect camouflage from birth is the best armor evolution could provide. In the entire ocean, no dance is as beautiful as the Spanish dancer nudibranch moving through the water. Its fiery red body undulates in rhythm, like a flamenco dancer performing. But this beauty is no mere display. It is a clear warning. I am toxic. Do not eat me. The Spanish dancer nudibranch does not produce its own toxin. It steals it. By eating sponges and other toxic organisms, it absorbs and stores the toxins in its body. This is an ingenious evolutionary strategy. No energy spent creating weapons. Simply borrow them. At first glance, you might think these are Christmas trees decorating the ocean floor. In reality, each tree is the upper part of a tube worm, the Christmas tree worm, protruding from its calcareous tube. These twin spirals are not just beautiful, they serve as both respiratory and feeding structures simultaneously. Each hair on the worm's spirals senses water movement while filtering phytoplankton for food. When danger is detected, a shadow or a pressure wave, they retract into their tube in an instant. This is the fastest defensive reflex among sessile reef organisms. Try to find the fish in this image. Difficult, isn't it? The crocodilfish is the ultimate camouflage artist of the reef floor. Its flattened body and mottled skin literally become part of the sandy substrate. The crocodilefish's eyes have a unique structure, a complex